Om Sri Sai Ram. Welcome to Sri Sathya Sai Loka Seva Gurukulam. We are seeing the continuous chapter on history of life on earth. Today we are going to see part 4 of the video. Before proceeding, as usual, we will see the answer for your home assignment. What was the question asked? We asked, what are the gases present on the atmosphere of the primitive earth? The volcanic gases, that time only volcano was there, right? So, these volcanic gases accumulated and combined to form a lethal gas. Lethal means a poisonous gas. Lethal gases like methane, ammonia, hydrogen cyanide, and minor gases is like carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. These are the gases formed the atmosphere of the primitive earth. Whenever you are answering it, make sure that you are concluding with the question. You reframe the sentence and conclude, otherwise start with that. Okay, it will give little attention to the person who is correcting and he may give more marks for that. Okay, you make sure that you are doing that in your exams. Now we will proceed into our today's learning objective. We have 3 learning objectives today. First, we are going to see origin of life, and we are going to see various hypotheses about origin of life. Then we are going to talk more about the primordial soup. When we are talking about hypothesis, hypothesis means it is like assumption. Based on the scientific evidence, we cannot witness all those things, right? So, we will just predict what would have happened in that environment, in a primitive environment, right? So, that time what would have happened? Those things are known as hypothesis. Okay, about origin of life, that happened very long before, right? So, that time what would have happened? So, now we will see how the life has originated. It is predicted that life has originated about 3.5 giga years ago. You may be wondering how scientists are predicting the age of the living organism, right? All those things are coming from the remains of the living being which once existed on the earth. Now it left behind its bones or any other part of its body. Those are known as fossils. From the fossils, they are doing carbon dating and they are estimating the age of the different kind of organism which originated. Okay, the first organism would have originated 3.5 giga years ago. That also they are telling, right? So, how they are predicting that? The scientists got a fossil evidence from Australia, and that fossil evidence is of a cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria in the sense the bacteria which could able to do photosynthesis. We can able to see a green color organism, right? So, those kind of slippery sometimes we can able to see in the field or in washroom or in where we will use more water. Those area we will see na, those kind of organism they could able to get the fossil. And the fossils usually in the sedimentation rock, right? Because sedimentation is happening when keep on that layer of soil which is forming, and then in that if any organism is trapped, eventually it is becoming a fossil because of the pressure which is created on the top of it. Like that they have caught a cyanobacteria from the Australia that is dating back 3.5 giga years. Okay, but this cyanobacteria, otherwise it is known as blue-green algae. Okay, and the cyanobacteria is a little complex organism and advanced organism. What does this mean? That is, it is having a set of genetic information which is already stored. It is having proteins which is present inside. It is having a proper cell membrane, cell wall, and moreover it is doing photosynthesis, right? You can imagine now also the organism, the plants and all is doing photosynthesis. So that mechanism these organisms are exhibiting. So these are some of the complex process in the life. So these organisms, when they are showing this complex organism are the processes of life, then scientists are assuming that life would have originated much earlier than 3.5 giga years ago. So roughly they are telling it must have originated 3.5 to 4 giga years ago. And here they are telling one more thing. So it is not possible that life would have originated before 3.8. So they are coming to a conclusion in the middle of 4 and 3.5. So that is how they are finding out the origin of life on earth. And how this life originated? Now we know when it originated, how it originated. That is given by two scientists. They are known as, one is a Russian scientist, his name is Oparin, and an English scientist, J.B.S. Haldane. Both separately did many experiments and they came to a conclusion. They combinedly, it is known as Oparin and Haldane hypothesis. What they are telling that the life would have originated step by step process. It is not in one day everything is created. Slowly it got all the different kind of mechanism accumulated and gradually the life would have originated. And where it have originated, the life on the earth would have arisen by step process. And they would have originated from non-living matter through the process of gradual chemical evolution. The chemistry of the organism started becoming complex and these organisms gradually accumulated these kind of complex chemical compound. By that the life would have originated. What they are telling, where it have originated, the life would have originated on the shallow sea. That time the sea was not very deep. Okay, that was the beginning of the earth, right? Beginning time. And then in that shallow water, important organic compounds such as amino acids were present. That is what they are talking about. These amino acids are the building blocks of protein. When you are considering a protein, it is having smaller unit, repeated unit. And these are nothing but amino acid. What these two people are suggesting, amino acid would have present in the shallow water. That is the basic building block of any life. All the organisms is composed of protein, right? Even virus do have protein. Bacteria has protein. And then we human and plant, everything is having protein. So protein is very basic necessity for any living organism. And they are telling in that water, these building blocks were present in enormous amount, very high concentration. Yeah, and collectively this shallow water with all the important organic compound in high concentration, hence they are using the term primordial soup. Primordial means very initial stage. We had the ocean which was rich in amino acid. That is known as primordial soup. And it is providing a necessary ingredient for emergence of life. And they are telling like that time how the atmosphere was. We have already seen the ocean was very shallow. How the atmosphere was? In the atmosphere we have already seen it was having many lethal gases, right? You recollect the previous lesson, and today also we have discussed in the beginning. It has methane, hydrogen cyanide, carbon monoxide, so many gases, right? So these gases were present, but we did not tell about oxygen in that environment, right? So this environment without oxygen, in the absence of oxygen, it is known as reducing atmosphere. Atmosphere is the place where we will find so many different kind of gases, right? And then in that we could able to see only the lethal gases and it is not having oxygen. Hence, it is known as reducing atmosphere. And the primitive earth had many organic compound that is formed from this inorganic substance. From the atmosphere, we could able to get all this kind of carbon compound. From that, inorganic compound must have originated. And they were washed down, that was present on the atmosphere and on the solid rocks which is present, and then all those things are washed down by a torrential rain. Torrential rain is like a copious amount, a large quantity of the water which is falling from the sky, and then in a very short time, that is known as torrential rain. Okay, that happened during the early time when the life has originated, and because of that the earth got cooled down, because you can imagine that time only volcano like structures was present, right? So much of hot the earth was, and during that time, because of this water, torrential rain, the earth crust started cooling down because of the rain. And when the water falls on this rock and through the atmosphere, we could able to see this is forming a primordial soup. And this is the picture of Oparin, and we have a picture of Haldane, and this is the fossil. Here it is stromolytis presented. These are the fossil from which the organisms were identified and what kind of organism it is. From dating that rock, they will find out like what is the age of the organism which is trapped, everything. Okay. Now we will see the proof for the hypothesis. The proof was given by Miller and Harold Urey. They did an experiment in 1953 to prove Oparin and Haldane hypothesis or idea. Okay, what they have done, they have found that organic molecules can be spontaneously produced under reducing condition. Reducing condition means it had ammonia, methane, all those gases, right? In that environment, we could able to spontaneously produce these amino acids. Okay, they made an experiment in a very closed system where they heated the water to resemble the hot earth crust, and then they were having a cooling device that represent the rain formation, and it is the water vapor was allowed to pass through a reducing atmosphere, and they were giving lightning by having electrical charges. So they could able to mimic the early atmosphere in a laboratory condition in vitro. In vitro means in the lab condition, in the glass, whatever we are doing an experiment. Vitro means glass. When we are doing an experiment in the lab, they could able to get all those things. After letting this experiment run for several weeks, they could able to see amino acid, sugar, lipid and other organic molecules has formed in the system, whatever design they have made. We will see the design of that experiment now, and we have a picture of Stanley Miller, and then we have the experimental setup, and we have Harold Urey. Okay, you can able to see them, right? Now this is the experimental setup what they had. Initially you can able to see so many connections are present, right? And here they are having water. The water is getting heated up. When the water is getting hot, it will convert from liquid phase to the gaseous phase, right? And the gaseous phase is allowed to travel, and it is coming through the reducing atmosphere, where water in the form of vapor, ammonia, methane, hydrogen, all those different gases are present, and here they are giving an electric spark to resemble the lightning which happened in the early atmosphere. Then the water, when it is coming through a cooling device, this is known as a condenser, this is mimicking like a rain, right? If the water is passing through a cool surrounding, then now the water vapor is getting condensed and forming a rain, right? Droplets it is forming, and this droplet is keep collected and it will be getting accumulated in this area. But when it is coming above the level, then this water will reach here and this water is again getting heated. This cycle was performed so many times, right? So many times this was again and again repeated for several weeks. Eventually, they could able to see in this environment where amino acids, nucleic acid, then lipid, everything started forming in this area. This is how they proved like the size organic compound from inorganic compound. Now, what are the other hypotheses about origin of life? Now, they are telling like the life did not originate on the shallow water. Instead, they are talking about the deep marine area, okay, the deep thermal vent, that is called as hypothermal vent. We know about volcano, right? Volcano, when it is present in the terrestrial environment, land, we can able to see the gas and the lava, everything is flowing. Similarly, we can able to see volcano in the underwater, in the ocean floor. That area, the gases and this molten minerals and other materials will keep ejected out from the earth core, right? In that area, that is known as hypothermal vent, where we could able to see the gas and the lava which is oozing out. So you can imagine that environment will be very hot, right? So that is known as thermal. Thermal means temperature. Hydro means it is inside water. So it is known as hydrothermal vent. And what is the organism they are predicting would have originated during that time? That is known as hyperthermophile. Hyper means higher, thermo pertains to temperature, philes is the living organism. So they are the organism which can able to live in very high temperature. Now we will see what they have done. On the deep sea vent, which is extremely hot, which is having dissolved gases and minerals which is oozing out from the earth core, right? These hyperthermophiles are a special group of archaebacteria. Archae means primitive. Archaebacteria means the bacteria which lived in a primitive environment. This bacteria, now also we can able to see these organisms living on earth. These archaebacteria are living near this kind of environment where the temperature is above 100 degrees. You can imagine how hot it will be. And then they are not doing photosynthesis or anything else. They are doing a special mechanism that is known as chemosynthesis. We know about photosynthesis. Photo means light. Light, the plants are trapping the light energy and converting into the usable energy, right? Here they are getting the energy in the form of chemical compound which is present in the hot gases. So they are known as chemosynthetic organism. So these archaebacteria are driving energy from this chemical compound which is oozing out from the earth core. And evolutionarily, these organisms are very ancient. It is also approximately 3.5 giga years before originated, and probably this may be the earliest living organism in the earth. These observations supports more recent hypothesis that life evolved in the hydrothermal vent on the ocean floor. So we have seen two hypotheses. One, they are telling in a shallow water life would have originated. The next hypothesis is telling about the life would have originated in the hydrothermal vent. Okay, we will move further. Now, science are answering from where, when life has begun. Like we have seen two hypotheses where it has originated, but how life emerged is still it is not understandable. It is still a mystery. That is, we could able to get amino acids and things like that, right? In the Urey experiment, we could able to see in the lab condition also, we can mimic the primitive environment and we could able to get, but we cannot make life, right? The organic compound we could able to make. and these organic compounds are essential for the life, and these are the small units of any life, right? And when it is combined together, we are having big structures like lipids and also proteins. And the living organism we cannot able to produce. What a living organism character is: living organism has to grow, it has to reproduce, and it also store and also pass the hereditary information. See, these are the things a living organism is expected to do. So we could not able to produce a living organism, even though we could able to get an organic matter in the lab condition by mimicking the very early earth atmosphere. And these are not the only scientific idea, but we have to keep our mind open for many other idea which is going to come to us. Now, did the life came from the soup? The organic compound did not form in a single step, right? We have seen like gradual chemical evolution. So, it is a single step evolution or it is a gradual evolution, and we are missing out this intermediate step that we don't know. And the scientists are trying to understand these intermediate steps, how it have occurred. One day in the laboratory, we can able to produce living organism from non-living things also. So, we have to open our mind to get all this new kind of information and new scientific ideas. Now, we will see the home assignment. We have 4 questions listed. What is primordial soup? That is your first question. Second, explain Haldane and Oparin theory about origin of life on earth. The third question, explain the experiment conducted by Stanley Miller and Harold Urey. The fourth question is, explain various hypotheses about origin of life. Okay, these are the home assignment question. Please complete it before watching the next video. Thank you so much. Om Sri Sai Ram.